Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Sarah Phillips, the Executive Director over at the Kodiak Chamber of Commerce. We want to welcome you to Alaska Startup Week here in Kodiak and statewide. This is really a week all about entrepreneurship globally, everyone getting started with their business, getting helpful tips from amazing professionals and innovators. And so again, we'd just like to thank you. Please feel free to utilize the chat function throughout the webinar and ask questions. I'm certain that Jennifer is going to gladly accept those questions and answer as she can. A couple of helpful tips and housekeeping items before we start the day. Number one is that this webinar is being live streamed on our Facebook page as well as being recorded. So just know that any questions you might ask or information, videos, audio, anything like that, that is being recorded. An additional housekeeping item is that Jennifer does have a little bit questionable internet service today, so we may or may not lose her throughout the presentation. We ask you just to bear with us. This is part of our virtual world this year, and so if we do happen to lose her, we know she's going to log right back on and jump right where she left off. So let me go ahead and quickly introduce Jennifer Adams of the Alaska Small Business Development Center. She is the Director of Rural Program Development. Ms. Adams holds a Master's of Business Administration from University of Alaska Fairbanks. She has been with the Alaska SBDC since 2018 and has helped over 400 businesses in Alaska. Adams is a seasoned business professional in various executive level positions, and she has owned a consulting business since 2013. Adams is a certified profit sense advisor, certified profit mastery advisor, certified export advisor, and is working on a business valuation certification. Adams is originally from rural Alaska and loves working with rural small businesses to help them succeed. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here for Startup Week. It's a little bit different doing Startup Week virtually this year. Usually we're able to do some fun things together, but we are still together just virtually. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. And this workshop really hopefully will cover some things that you maybe didn't know about or you know, as a refresher, maybe for those of you that are seasoned business owners. But yeah, so we will talk about the journey to small business ownership here today. A little bit of housekeeping, just to, before we get started too far, giving you a little overview of the Alaska Small Business Development Center. So we are funded by the SBA. We get a match from the state of Alaska, and that's how we're able to offer our services at no cost to you. And we do require a couple things back in return for our services, which is we ask you to fill out our surveys and report back some milestones about your business. Both of those are super simple, and it's a way to get no cost business advising without paying a consultant to help you. So we are able to do business advising. We do workshops and webinars. Some of those are free, some are at a small cost. And we have a lot of tools on our website that you can download. Our website is aksbdc.org. And what we don't do, we can't do tax advice. We can't do accounting or legal advice. And we also cannot help cannabis businesses because we are federally funded. So yeah, I got a good intro, so I don't need to tell you about my background too much. I have been a business owner since 2013, along with most of my other colleagues. I know I have a couple new colleagues on the line, so hi to you guys. I'm so happy that you're here and on our team. And would anybody want to share today why you're attending this class, or maybe what your business idea is? All right, well, we'll just keep on going. So here is what we are going to cover today. We're going to go over why do you want to start a business? Some common questions that we get here at the Alaska Small Business Development Center about startups. And then we are going to talk about just to show you all the things that the Alaska Small Business Development Center can do to help you as you're starting your business. So what makes a good business owner? Definitely helps if you are goal oriented, just because, I mean, it can take you 100 hours to write a good business plan. It takes a lot of motivation to do that. And especially we've seen during COVID, there's a lot of paperwork that goes with maintaining your business, like filling out those grants for like AK Cares and things like that. I've heard a lot of complaints about that, but that's just part of business. So if you don't like filling out a lot of paperwork, you might want to hire somebody to do that for you, or just know your limitations. Yeah, so it's really good if you're a business owner and you're able to take advice, especially from, you know, organizations like the chambers or the rural economic development. I know we have some of those partners on the line today, and the Alaska Small Business Development Center. You're going to want to get advice from a CPA and an attorney as you're starting your business. It's really good to know some of the characteristics of a good business owner. So like you need to know all the money, understand how it flows through your business, and also just being able to take money from your customers. I have some friends that own businesses, and like one of them owns a rental company, and when people bring things back late to her, she has a really hard time charging them those late fees. So that's something you want to talk to yourself about, and like, am I okay taking money from people? Because that's essentially what a good business is. You need to be able to make money. Like, it's okay to have all these other goals too. Like maybe you have a business that helps society in some way, but you can't help people in society if your business is not making money. So it's really important that you educate yourself as a business owner about finances, how to read financial statements, what is your monthly break even, those kind of things. Persistence, it's being able to fail and learn from your mistakes is also pretty important. There's a lot of people that have started tons of businesses. Maybe they started 9 businesses and they were all failures, but then that 10th business was very successful. So being able to learn and then grow from your mistakes is pretty important also. So what does it take to start a business? You definitely need to be able to take risks and not be afraid of failure, as I mentioned. You want to consider if the time is right. So during a pandemic, world pandemic like this, there might be some businesses that would thrive in this environment, but they're also, it might not be a good time for other businesses. So make sure that your timing is right. Some people start a business because they want to be their own boss. I know for me, that's a huge driving factor. So you can do what you love. Also, there's a lot of artists that start their own business. So that's what I think of when I say doing what you love. And then, yeah, just make sure that not all risks are about money either. So you might be leaving a certain job that you're very successful in it because you want to start your business. So you're taking a risk in that way too, because that job might not be there if your business fails. So those are all things to consider as you're thinking about starting a business. So the business idea, you can have a business idea in your head, but you also need to put it down on paper. We have a really good tool on our website, and just because of my internet connections, I'm not going to test it going back and forth to the, but you can look on our website. We have a tool called 20 Questions, and that is a really good tool or questionnaire to just go over as you're starting to look at owning a small business. And it will ask you some critical questions, like how are you going to be making money? Who are your customers? How about who is your competition? Is there enough room in your community like capacity wise for another pizza business, say? What if you already have 10, or if it is a small town of 500 people, if you have a pizza business or 2 pizza businesses, and then you decide to join in with the 3rd pizza business, is there going to be, you know, how are you going to get those customers? You might have to take them from somebody else. So you'd have to think about that also. Yeah, and then target markets. It's really important to know who your target markets are. There's a lot of research to do in that area. If you don't know how to do it, definitely sign up with us at the Alaska Small Business Development Center for free advising, and we can help you do some target market research so you can find out who your target markets are. And it's okay to have more than one. Another thing is startup costs. So how much is it going to cost you to start? This is like before you make your first sale, just to launch your business. And it's pretty typical for the launch costs to be about $50,000 for a startup. So how are you going to come up with that money? Understanding all these costs and being intimately familiar with your finances of your business is it's your responsibility as a business owner. So we'll get into that a little bit more here shortly. So researching the costs of your startup is going to be everything from maybe licensing, equipment, inventory, supplies, those kind of things. Are you buying a building or land or equipment, those kind of things? And then you also have operational costs that are going to come after your startup costs. So these are, once your business is up and running, what are your typical regular monthly costs that you're going to have to figure out? Those are usually like salaries, rent, insurance, inventory. So yeah, you need to figure out all these costs. And even if you don't know these, it's okay to call us at the Alaska Small Business Development Center. That's what we're here for. We will help you figure all this out. But those are things to think about as you're thinking of a startup. So we're going to go through a little example of a simple cup of coffee, and we're going to do a little break-even analysis scenario, and think about the cost structure of this business. Like, how much do you need to sell in order just to break even? So we will think about that. So in this scenario, you are selling one thing at your coffee stand, which is a latte. The latte costs you $1 for the espresso and the milk and the cup and the lid, maybe a sleeve, and you are selling this latte for $3. So those are the costs that it costs you to make it. That is called the variable costs. These are your direct costs. So all these materials that it takes for you to make that cup of coffee and be able to sell it for $3. Then you also need to think about your fixed costs. So like in this scenario, we're saying $5,000 a month are your fixed costs for your rent, utilities, insurance, and salary. So the question is, how many cups of coffee do we need to sell each day just to break even? So as a reminder, your latte is $3. Your variable cost is $1, and your fixed costs are $5,000 a month. So we do have to do a little math. So each drink costs $3 or sells for $3. Your cost is $1 for the business owner. So what's left? $2. So this is also called gross margin or contribution margin, but it's easy to just say what's left as well. So how many lattes do you need to sell to pay your fixed expenses of $5,000? So you can take the $5,000 in fixed expenses, divide it by $2, and that gives you 2,500 lattes. But we want to find out how many lattes per day. So then we need to go a little bit further and divide that 2,500 lattes by 30 days in a month. That gives you the 83 lattes a day. That's just to break even. So how are you going to sell 83 lattes a day? I remember in Juneau, in the Wharf building, there was a coffee shop that opened. And I wondered if they took this into consideration, because they went out of business in about 6 months and they didn't come to us at the Alaska Small Business Development Center. So I don't know if they knew that they needed to sell maybe 83 lattes a day, whatever their numbers were. But these are the considerations that you have to make. And this isn't even paying yourself. So the last question on this page, how much profit did you make? And so actually in this scenario, this owner did not make any profit. So they just got to zero and covered their expenses. That's it. So a lot of times the owners won't take, you won't get paid until maybe the end of year if you take it like an owner's draw or something. So another thing to consider. So some of our common startup questions are, do I need a business plan? So if you're planning on getting a loan, or you are definitely going to need a business plan. And if you're even going to borrow maybe from family or friends, you would probably also need a business plan, because they want to know that you know all about your business and you're an expert in certain areas and that you've done your research and your homework. They want your business to be successful so you can pay them back, right? Some people borrow money from their family and friends. Some people get a small business loan. Some people use credit cards. You can approach a bank. They will lend for startups as long as there is enough cash flow in your financial projections, which is part of your business plan. There are some nonprofit lenders. Think of like Spruce Root or Evergreen Business Lending. Those are nonprofit lenders and they work with the SBA. So that's a place you can get money from. There are business contests that pop up throughout the year. For instance, there's the ICE Alaska, which is run through the University of Alaska Fairbanks. They have an innovation competition that's open right now you can apply for. In the spring, there's usually a pitch contest or a business plan competition through the Innovation Summit in Juneau. Spruce Root has a business competition. I believe Cowarak has a grant. I don't know if you can unmute yourself, Alice, but I know that there is a contest for that coming up for people in the Cowarak region. You might want to check in with your regional economic development corporation to see about that. And there are investors in crowdfunding too. Some people choose to go that route. In that case, you're usually giving a piece of your business away. And then another really common question that we get is, what legal business structure should I choose? When I first started working in Juneau in 2018, I was getting that question a lot. So we actually created a workshop called LLCs in Alaska. And that workshop is taught by an attorney here in Alaska. It costs $50 to watch it. And all of our workshops are free for veterans and active duty military and their spouses through the rest of 2020. All right, so we'll continue on. So creating a business plan is actually a two-part document. So we do the financials first. That is the step one of your business plan, because you want to know and make sure that your business idea is going to be profitable. And we can find out in about an hour. We can do run your financial forecast, which is, you can also think of it like a feasibility study, like is this business idea going to be profitable? And so if you work with an advisor here at the Alaska Small Business Development Center, we can run that financial forecast with you. It takes about an hour and you'll know the answer to this, and you'll also be done with your first part of your business plan. And that will tell you whether you should spend 80 to 100 hours writing the narrative part of your business plan. And also, if you're seeking a loan, you would want to check in with your bank after you do the financials, because not all lenders want a full business plan. Some of them just want the financials and like a one-page summary of your business idea. So definitely check in with your lender, because it could save you a lot of work if you don't have to write a full business plan. But we at the Alaska Small Business Development Center recommend that you write a business plan, because it serves as a roadmap. So you know where your business is going. Like say you hire a new manager, you can just give them that business plan and they will know all the steps and procedures, how you run your business, so that they can be a better employee too. So we have workshops and webinars, as I mentioned earlier. If you go to our website, this is what the page looks like in the blue banner. You'll want to click on the workshops tab, and then you'll get a list of all our workshops. So that's how you get there. And if you are a veteran or active duty military and you want to take advantage of that, you'll just contact our workshop team, Emily or Victoria, and they will get you all set up to access the free workshops. And also, if you are a client, I forgot to mention, you also get a 25% off discount for any workshops that you want to take. So here's our tools page. Our tools, we have all these tools on our website. So on the blue banner, also click on tools. All of these tools are free to download. You can download the financial forecast. You can download business plan templates. We also can help you in any of these stages of business that you are in, like whether you're just thinking about starting a business, if you're ready to launch your business, if you want to grow your business, reinvent it, or you just are ready to get rid of that business and start doing something else. We can help you with the exit of your business as well. We help people buy and sell businesses. We also have access to some other reports that are very valuable. For instance, we can give you IBIS World Industry Reports, which are, it's like marketing research and tied up in a nice little package that you can use bits and pieces of in your business plan. So it'll save you a lot of work on the research of your marketing. And if you were to purchase that IBIS World Industry Report yourself, it would cost you about $1,850. So you can get it for free from us just by signing up. Another thing that we can offer, instead of doing a manual projection, if your business has been going for 3 years or more, we can run a financial analysis on your business using our ProfitSense software program. And there are some consultants in the state that might charge you like $3,000 to $5,000 for that type of report, which we can also do for free. So just some really good reasons why you might want to sign up with the Alaska Small Business Development, because you can get access to things that otherwise would cost you a lot of money. As far as the business plan templates, I use the extended version. I think it's better to start out with a long list of an outline, just so you cover everything. And then if there are parts of it that you don't need, you can always feel free to delete it, because it's your business plan. You can make it look however you want. And for my rural clients in rural Alaska, I also use a sort of rural business template. So if you want access to that, definitely contact me and I can get you a copy of that. a lot of our clients or they will ask, where can I get money from? So some people do credit cards to finance their business. Maybe they don't need that much, or they're okay with taking on that debt. Some people borrow from family and friends. And then there's vendor credit. Don't forget about that. I was researching starting a suntan, or what do you call it, tanning booth business. And one way I was going to get some of that equipment was just to get it straight from the vendor. Maybe they have a financing plan, the vendor that sells those machines. And so you don't always necessarily need to go to a bank. So it's good to think outside the box, especially with startups, and especially during COVID. The banks are being a little bit tight right now. So if you want money from a lender, you need to have a very, very good business plan and financials to show that you have enough cash flow to support this. Some people choose to go get money from investors. There is like the Alaska Angel Network in Alaska. So if you have a business that can scale up and become really big and successful, then you might want to think about crowdfunding or angel investors, kind of those might work for you. Where else can you get money? So there are, of course, conventional loans, and you need to have a credit score of about 680 or higher. You need to plan on putting about 20 to 30% down. So if you're going to borrow 100,000, you need 20,000 at least down for that. And you also most likely will need a well-written business plan. Any lender is going to want that. There are SBA loans. We actually have a workshop on that. So if you're interested in learning more about how SBA loans work, definitely check out that workshop. SBA loans, what they do is they guarantee, they back the loan usually about 90% to the bank. So it's more attractive to the bank to lend to small businesses because it's guaranteed by the SBA. So if you default on your loan, the SBA is going to pay the bank. So that's kind of how that works, just in a real brief nutshell. Also, where can I not get money? Grants, usually those are pretty hard to come by. They're not usually typically given to for-profit businesses. If you wanted to check that out, you could go to grants.gov or alaska.gov and check those out. One thing, if you do have a rural business or like an agricultural type business, you might check out USDA rural development grants. Of course, there is a lot of strings attached anytime you get a grant. I used to be a grant writer for 15 years. And so that money does not come, it's not easy to get, it's not easy to manage. It takes a lot of administrative work to maintain those. So just keep that in mind if you're going to go over a grant. I know the USDA rural development ones, some of those require like a 20% match at least. So if you were going to get a grant for 100,000, you have to come up with a match of 20,000. So not too different from just borrowing the money. Borrowing is probably a little easier. And then, as I mentioned, the regional corporations or regional economic development organizations might be able to help you. There is the Small Business Innovation Research Grant. If you're interested in that, what those are, it's a technology grant. So if you're a tech type small business and you develop something that's going to help other small businesses with your technology is going to help them, then you might take a look at the SBIR. You can find workshops on that at our workshop page at aksbdc.org and click on workshops. Some clients choose to utilize the Alaska Mental Health Trust Grant. That comes, I believe their deadline is in September of each year. So we help some people get ready for that. And then I did also mention those business plan competitions. So you can sometimes get free money from that if you're in the Southeast. Spruce Root gives out, I think last year they had $25,000 to 2 winners. So you can get some free money that way. So now we will turn the corner and kind of take a look at some business structures that you could have for your business. This is all covered in a workshop taught by an attorney here in Alaska. It's called LLCs in Alaska. So I highly, highly recommend that to anybody who doesn't understand the difference between a sole proprietorship and an LLC. And a partnership, like which is the best business structure for my business. The workshop, it's great, and he will tell you that you most likely do not want to be a partnership. That's what the attorney recommends in the workshop. And he does recommend that you do choose an LLC. Offers the most protection. A sole proprietorship, of course, the advantage there is that a sole proprietor business license is only $50. So that's pretty cheap compared to an LLC. It's going to cost you $250 to do your paperwork and create that entity, the LLC, and then another $50 for the business license that goes with it. So a partnership is not recommended because it's pretty dangerous. There are some situations you could get into, like say a couple starts a business together and then somewhere down the line they break up. One person might go to the bank and empty that business bank account out. So that's why an LLC is recommended, because in an LLC, you want to do an operating agreement also. The operating agreement just gets filed in your office, but your home office, but it is notarized, and it's a document that says what you can and cannot do in this business. Like, what if one of the partners gets hit by a bus? Can the other part of the business be sold to anybody off the street, or does it need to be sold to somebody in the, stay within the two partners and maybe sell it to one of those family members? Or how many people does it take to go get money out of the business bank account? It should say that in your operating agreement too. Like, you need two signatures in order to withdraw a certain amount of money, that kind of thing. So it's like a will or a prenup for your LLC. So that is generally, most of our clients are going to want to get an LLC, just because it also creates a little bit of a Chinese wall between you and your business, as long as you keep your business expenses separate from your personal. So you never want to use your business credit card to go buy groceries for yourself. Instead, you want to make a transfer from your business account to your personal account, and then you can go buy your groceries. So you want to keep those definitely separate. And then if we look at corporations, I think I only work with maybe 2 corporations, and they're up in the millions. So those guys corporations are usually the business structure for larger companies that have stock and shareholders, and you might be a part owner or a full owner. But there is a large maintenance burden for corporations too. So you have to have regular board meetings, you have to take minutes, and you're also subject to SEC rules, Security and Exchange Commission rules. Corporations are also double taxed, so you want to think about that. It's a really good idea to talk to a CPA and possibly even an attorney in the same call. Like, you could go visit your attorney and have your CPA on the line, and those two can, so that you're not having to go talk to them separately and get different answers. If you have them in the same room or the same conversation, that might be beneficial to you. And also, there are nonprofits, but here at the Alaska Small Business Development Center, we do not help nonprofits. We are funded by a grant that requires us to work with for-profit businesses. So if you are thinking of a nonprofit business, then we would refer you over to the 4Acre group. And then business licenses. So what do you need to know in order to go get your business license? We actually have a free workshop on business licenses. So you can go to our workshop page and watch how to get a business license in Alaska. It's a free workshop. You're going to need to know your NAICS code in order to get your business license. So that stands for North American Industry Classification System. And so it's like a category that your business fits into. And just because of the internet issues today, I'm not going to go there, but you can go to census.gov, this web address, to get your NAICS code. You can just Google it too. You can Google like coffee shop NAICS code or auto shop NAICS code, and it will come up. And you'll notice that the state of Alaska's categories are a little bit different than maybe national NAICS codes. And you're also going to need to know, before you get a business license, does my business, is it required by the state of Alaska to have some kind of an occupational license? So some of those are like a handyman, a lot of construction type businesses, a massage therapy business, chiropractors, and then of course, like even nail technicians and hairdressers need occupational licensing, and you have to get those first before you get your business license. After you get your business licenses, usually the next step, if you're an LLC, you're going to need an employer identification number or an EIN, and that's free at the IRS. So I can help you go there too if you need a link or something. Definitely know that that is free from the IRS. I have had some clients come to me and say, oh, here's my EIN that I paid $275 for. And at that point, my eyes get really big because I'm like, an EIN number is free through the IRS. Do not ever pay for an EIN number, because if you did, it was a scam. And if you actually Google EIN number, the first site that comes up is actually a scam. So just be careful and make sure that you're going to an email or a web page that's the IRS for your employer identification number. And then your business licenses. So the state of Alaska, of course, requires business licenses. If you form an LLC, you're going to have to choose that your business license is owned by an entity, not an individual. So if you get the individual one, you're going to get the wrong business license. You're going to make sure you don't do that. And we can help you, point you in the right direction here at the Alaska Small Business Development Center if you need help with getting your business licenses. Some boroughs also require business licenses. Like, I know if you're working in the Fairbanks North or Fairbanks City proper, they require you to have a Fairbanks City of Fairbanks business license. There are various other boroughs throughout Alaska. Some of them are rural too, that require you to have either a borough or a city license in addition to the state of Alaska business license. So you always want to check with your city and borough to make sure what their requirements are. Oh yeah, here's a list of some of the business licenses that I noticed. So if you're in Bethel, you need to get a City of Bethel business license. If you're up in Utqiagvik, Barrow, you also need one of their business licenses. And Nome requires you to have a city business license as well. So you definitely want to make sure that you check and make sure that you, if you need a business license, more than one. There's also some, there are also some places that require you to do local sales tax. Like I just found these really quick: Kotzebue, Kodiak, Nikiski, Sitka, Sterling, Selawik, Gustavus, Craig, and more. So make sure that you understand your burden as a business owner. Usually it doesn't affect your finances, but it is extra work for you. So if you're like a one-person business, you need to consider how much time it's going to take you to do all this collecting taxes and reporting it back to your local either borough or city, because it is a burden. It's work that you have to do as a business owner, and they'll fine you if you don't. I know in Juneau, you get in big trouble if you don't file those local sales taxes. Even if you don't owe anything, even if you owe zero, you'll get in trouble. So keep all that in mind. And then I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, just important to think about the team that you might need, building a team. So you're going to not only hire employees, but you also need to have a good relationship with a bank or a lender. You need a business bank account. You might need a CPA or an accountant. It's really important for that so that you don't get burned out. Some business owners don't want to spend the money on, paying somebody else to do their marketing or their bookkeeping. But it's like, as a business owner, think about if you're working 5 days a week and then you have to do payroll or bookkeeping on the weekends, are you going to get burned out? Are you going to, you need to rest and recharge. So if you need to hire somebody to help you with your accounting or your marketing, it's a very good idea to do that. So you'll need to budget for that. You'll also want to talk to an insurance broker. Usually you can just call a regular insurance provider in your town and say, hey, I need business liability insurance, and you can get a quote that way. There might be some other professionals that you need to think about as well. Like if you're going to be buying a building, of course, you're going to have a real estate professional. You might have architects, engineers, that kind of thing. You might have a patent attorney if you're going to get a patent. Yeah, just all things to think about. And of course, I did mention how the Alaska Small Business Development Center can help you. We have our free workshops. Some are a low cost just to cover our expenses. And all of our advising is confidential. I don't tell anybody I've been working with you or anything like that. We do have some free marketing that we can help you with. So we can do a Facebook post, we can feature your business on our website and reports and things like that. We can help you with market research, and we can help you with financial management. I have a lot of businesses that check in with me monthly, yearly to make sure that they are on track with their finances. And that's a really good practice, best practice. And then we also know about a lot of things that are going on in the state. So like if there's those business competitions coming up, networking opportunities, free things that you can take advantage of, that's what we know about. So it's always good to keep in regular contact with us. And that is pretty much it for today's workshop. We're getting done a little early since I didn't pop out and do those websites and things like that. But I'll open it up for questions. And let's see, checking on this Q&A. And so I did have a question from someone saying, do you need a business license if your business is online and an e-commerce site? And the answer is yes. Yes, if you're selling anything more than $600 a year out of the state of Alaska, then yes, you need a business license. As far as a copyright logo, that's more of like legal advice, something that we can't do, but you don't have to. I mean, it's not required that you copyright your logo. And we do have one of my colleagues, Alan, he used to work for the state of Alaska in their licensing department. So he has some really good answers about the copyright information. So a lot of times, if you don't have the money to pay an attorney to defend that copyright, then it might not be worth the money that you spend to do the copyright. That's kind of what I've heard from some of my colleagues. And then somebody just typed city business license. And yes, we can provide these slides. I can make them available to the Kodiak team and any other team members that are on today. We can make these slides available and email them to you. And someone also wanted a quick pro and cons list between LLCs and sole proprietor. So the sole proprietor, the pro is that it's $50 and it's very simple to maintain. You just pay a $50 business license fee every year. But the LLC can provide you a little bit more protection for, say, like you have a counseling business in your house or something, and then somebody slips and falls when they're coming to see you. Then if you have an LLC, they should only be able to sue for what the LLC owns. And there should be a difference between you and your business. If you have a sole proprietorship, you probably should purchase a lot of insurance, because if you don't and somebody gets hurt from your business, they can sue you directly and they can take your car and your house and your personal bank account, possibly. So those are things to consider. With a sole proprietorship, and I highly, highly recommend that you watch the LLCs in Alaska workshop, because the attorney talks about everything, pros and cons between LLC and sole proprietorship, and that is the best way to get that information. Like I said, it's $50 to watch that. If you go talk to an attorney by yourself, it might cost you $200 just to talk to them. So it's a good value. And yes, I will send the slides to Alice at COERAC, and she will get those to you if you're in her region. And then let's see, I got one more question. If I start an LLC, do I need to set up a group? The answer is no. You can start an LLC, just you can have a single member LLC, or you can have multiple members in an LLC. I think that hopefully that answers the question. The workshop regarding the LLC, I can try and get that. I was trying not to have any technical difficulties, so let me go to our website and I will show you guys the workshop for the LLCs. Just click on workshops.
While you're pulling up the information for the workshop, could you also answer, do you know if workshops will be free for veterans in 2021?
I haven't heard that yet, but I know we were considering that for sure. So you'll want to check back with us as we get closer. We should have that. We should have that answer for you. I know we were thinking of extending it. Here's the LLCs in Alaska workshop on our website, and I will see if I can type that in. Here we go. All right, so I provided that link for the LLCs in Alaska. And yeah, if you email, you can email me. Let's see, I'm going to type my email me, jennifer.adams@aksbdc.org. And SBDC stands for Small Business Development Center. So I'm going to send that. Here's the place where you can email me and I'll give you slides. I'm just writing down some of these places where, and I don't know, Kodiak, are you able to maybe get me a screenshot of the participants on today?
Sure.
And then,
So what we'll ask is if everyone that is interested in the slides or a recording of the presentation, if you can just privately send your email address to myself, Sarah Phillips, in the chat. So just in that chat function, send me a private message that has your email address and we'll make sure we get the slides and recording to you.
yeah, and someone on the Kenai Peninsula asked where to get those slides. So you can get them from Cliff Cochrane, our Kenai Peninsula director, or I can send them to you as well. So I think that's it for the questions. If there's nothing else, I think we're ending a few minutes early. Let me check if, nope, no more questions. Well, thank you guys for joining today. We will definitely work to get you guys copies of the slides or any other information that you want. I hope this was valuable to you, and we hope to see you working with us at the Alaska Small Business Development Center. And have a great week, you guys. Enjoy the rest of Startup Week.
Thanks again so much, Jennifer, for joining us. I'm going to leave the presentation open for just a couple more minutes to give everyone the opportunity to utilize that chat function. Just go ahead and send us that chat and let us know what your email is, and we'll make sure we get slides and recordings to you. So again, I'll just keep it open until we have as many people as are interested in the slides and recording of the presentation. And you're welcome to hop off as long as you've sent us your email if you want that. Thank you. Again, we're just currently leaving the presentation open so that you have the opportunity to share your email address with the panelists. Sharing that email address, we'll go ahead and send you the slides and the recording of this presentation. Okay, final warning, we have about a minute and I'm going to close the webinar down. If you'd like a copy of the presentation recording or any of the slides, please go ahead and just send us a chat with your email address and we'll make sure that you get the slides and the recording of the presentation.